Ever wondered which ancient weapons were the most feared, the most devastating on the battlefield? We're about to count down the top 10 deadliest weapons of the ancient world. From simple projectiles to complex war machines, these instruments of conflict shaped empires and decided the fate of nations. You might be surprised by what made the list and just how lethal they really were. Starting our countdown at number 10, we have the sling. Don't underestimate this simple weapon. In the hands of a skilled user, a sling could hurl a stone at over 100 miles per hour. That's enough force to shatter bone and pierce through armor. We all know the famous story of David and Goliath from the book of Samuel, where a single well-aimed stone from a sling brought down a giant warrior. Shepherds used them to protect their flocks from predators, and armies used them as highly effective ranged weapons. Slingers were a crucial part of many ancient armies, including the Romans and Greeks, raining down a deadly barrage of projectiles on their enemies from a safe distance. Its simplicity, combined with its lethal potential, makes the sling a worthy entry on our list. At number 9, we have the mace. This is pure, brutal, blunt force trauma. A mace is essentially a heavy club, often with a flanged or knobbed head made of stone or metal. Unlike a sword that needs a sharp edge, a mace delivers crushing blows that could break bones and smash through helmets and armor with sheer power. It was a weapon of shock and awe. The Book of Psalms mentions ruling with a rod of iron, which evokes the kind of authority and devastating impact a mace could have. It was relatively easy to make and use, requiring more strength than finesse. For close-quarters combat, the mace was a terrifying weapon, capable of disabling an armored opponent with a single, well-placed strike. Its raw, destructive power earns it the number 9 spot. Crashing in at number 8 is the battle axe. Combining the chopping power of an axe with a design meant for combat, this weapon was a nightmare for anyone on the receiving end. The battle axe could deliver deep, cleaving wounds, sever limbs, and hook shields to pull them away, leaving an enemy defenseless. The prophet Jeremiah describes a nation as God's battle axe, a tool to shatter kingdoms, which perfectly captures its destructive nature. Different cultures developed their own versions, from the single-bladed axes of the Vikings to the double-headed labyrinths of the Minoans. Its ability to defeat both unarmored and armored foes, plus its versatility in hooking and chopping, made the battle axe a staple on ancient battlefields and a truly deadly tool. Flying into our number 7 spot is the javelin. Lighter than a spear, but deadlier than an arrow at certain ranges. The javelin was the go-to throwing weapon for skirmishers and light infantry. It was designed for one purpose: to be thrown with lethal force before closing in for melee combat. The story of Joshua stretching out his javelin toward the city of Ai is a powerful image of military command and the weapon's role in signaling an attack. Roman legionaries famously carried 2 javelins, or pipes. They would hurl them into the enemy ranks to disrupt their formation, wound soldiers, and disable shields before charging in with their swords. The weighted tip and thin shaft were designed to punch through shields and armor, making it an incredibly effective opening move in any battle. Rumbling into number 6, we have the chariot. This wasn't just a weapon. It was a mobile weapons platform, the ancient equivalent of a tank. A typical war chariot was a light, two-wheeled vehicle pulled by 2 or more horses, carrying a driver and an archer or spearman. Imagine the terror of facing a line of chariots charging at full speed. They could break enemy formations, chase down fleeing soldiers, and provide a fast, elevated position for archers to rain down arrows. The book of Exodus describes Pharaoh's formidable army, including hundreds of his best chariots, pursuing the Israelites. Chariots were a symbol of power and wealth, a high-tech weapon that dominated battlefields across the Near East and Egypt for centuries. Their speed, shock value, and versatility secure their place on our list. Now for our top 5. At number 5, we find the recurve bow. This was a massive technological leap from the simple longbow. By curving the limbs of the bow away from the archer, it could store much more energy and release an arrow with greater speed, power, and range. This meant it could be made shorter and more compact than a longbow of similar power, making it perfect for use on horseback or from a chariot. Psalm 18 speaks of God training hands for war, enabling them to bend a bow of bronze, hinting at the immense strength and skill required to master such a powerful weapon. Empires like the Scythians, Mongols, and Hittites built their military might on the back of skilled archers using recurve bows. They could devastate enemy armies from a distance, long before the infantry lines ever met. At number 4 is the spear. Simple, effective, and incredibly versatile. The spear is one of humanity's oldest weapons, but its design was perfected in the ancient world. It could be used one-handed with a shield, as famously done by the Greek hoplites in their phalanx formation, creating a nearly impenetrable wall of sharp points. It could also be used two-handed for greater reach and power. Its length gave its user a significant advantage, keeping enemies at a distance. From hunting to warfare, the spear was essential. We see its significance even in the New Testament, where a Roman soldier pierces the side of Jesus with a spear. Its long history, widespread use, and fundamental role in military formations for thousands of years make the spear one of the most important and deadly weapons ever conceived. Breaking into our top 3 is the sword, specifically represented by the Roman gladius. While many types of swords existed, the gladius was the tool that carved out one of the largest empires in history. It was a short sword, designed primarily for stabbing and thrusting in the tight, chaotic press of close combat. After the pila were thrown, Roman legionaries would draw their gladi and engage. The design was brutally efficient, meant to inflict fatal wounds quickly and move on to the next target. The Bible even uses the imagery of a flaming sword guarding the way to the tree of life in Genesis, showing the sword as a symbol of ultimate, deadly authority. The gladius was more than just a piece of metal. It was the heart of the Roman military machine and a key to its dominance. At number 2, we have the catapult and other siege engines. These were the heavy artillery of the ancient world. When a city's walls seemed impenetrable, you brought in the engines of war. Catapults, ballistae, and trebuchets could hurl massive stones, flaming projectiles, and even diseased carcasses over fortifications, smashing defenses and spreading terror and disease within. The Bible describes King Uzziah equipping his army in Jerusalem with engines invented by skillful men to shoot arrows and great stones. These machines represented the pinnacle of ancient military engineering. They required immense resources to build and operate, but they could bring down the mightiest strongholds. The ability to destroy fortified cities from a distance makes siege engines one of the most devastating weapons of their time. And finally, the number one deadliest ancient weapon is Greek fire. This was a true terror weapon, an incendiary mixture that could be sprayed from siphons mounted on ships. Its exact formula is lost to history, but we know it was a closely guarded state secret of the Byzantine Empire. What made it so terrifying? It would stick to surfaces, and it couldn't be extinguished with water. In fact, water might have made it burn even more intensely. Imagine being on a wooden ship, suddenly sprayed with a liquid fire that you couldn't put out. It was devastating in naval battles and sieges. While the book of Job's description of Leviathan breathing fire is poetic, it captures the terrifying, almost mythical nature of a weapon like Greek fire. Its psychological impact was just as potent as its physical destruction. The mystery, the unstoppable nature, and the sheer horror it induced make Greek fire the deadliest weapon of the ancient world. So there you have it, the 10 most formidable weapons that shaped ancient history. From the simple sling to the mysterious Greek fire, each one played a crucial role on the battlefield. Which one do you think was the most terrifying? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic historical countdowns.